Hello, everyone. Dr. Cinema here. So, the Joker film's coming out in a couple weeks. But before we get to the new version of Joker, played by Joaquin Phoenix, let's talk about a couple people that have made the film famous on the big screen for a while. We are talking about Jack Nicholson's performance in the 1989 Batman film, directed by Tim Burton, and we're talking about Heath Ledger's Joker from the 2008 film The Dark Knight, directed by Christopher Nolan. Now, the Joker has become one of those villains that's just so iconic and recognizable that it's honestly probably one of the most well known popular fictional characters of all time. But of course, between Jack Nicholson and Heath Ledger, who brought the better performance? Who was more faithful? And who overall had the longest lasting impact? This is a Joker face off where we take 5 different rounds and pit them up against each other. So, let's get started, shall we? Alright, round 1 Humor. The Joker always likes to put on a performance. He always likes to look for the jokes, the humor in everyday things, or at least the things he does, which is not, I guess in a way it's everyday. Anyway, Jack Nicholson's performance as the Joker, he's having a good time. I mean, he makes some jokes, he likes to put on a performance. Hell, the big climatic fight was him turning this big happy parade in the street and just turn them into a big crime scene. I mean, he's really going all out for it. Heath Ledger's Joker, he goes all out, but not in terms of humor. Sure, there are small moments where, yeah, he's kind of humorful. Couple small, very small comedic moments, but that's not really where the focus of this performance is really about. So with that in mind, Jack Nicholson wins round 1. Now let's move on to round 2. Fear. Now, Jack Nicholson's Joker, while more comedic in a way, he's still fairly intimidating. He has some good moments, like just being a criminal. Yeah, he's a criminal, a big time criminal in Gotham, and he has his very intimidating moments. Heath Ledger's Joker, borderline terrorist, or straight out terrorist more likely. I mean, he's non-stop going mad dog on basically everyone he sets his eyes on. And yeah, the fact that he does all of what he does with no regard for much of anything else, he's pretty scary. So this round goes to Heath Ledger. Let's move on to round 3. Chaos. Now, by chaos, Joker has always been sort of a mentally unstable person. And that shows up in his crimes, his mannerisms, and behavior. Now, Heath Ledger's Joker is a self-proclaimed proclaimed agent of chaos. But how true is that? I mean, really, if you look at it, there had to have been a lot of planning to pull off all the stuff that he did, years of planning. And he talks about how the crime families and the police department all have these plans and how he doesn't have any plans. But come on, he clearly had this planned out for a long time. Now, Jack Nicholson's Joker, he is a crime boss, so of course he's going to have some organizational skills, some plans for certain things. But in the grand scheme of things, he really does just what he feels like doing. I mean, there really is no whole point to him doing it besides just being himself, having power and influence over Gotham. Heath Ledger's Joker has always been about sending a message. So at the end of the day, he has a purpose for doing what he is doing. With Jack Nicholson's Joker, He does what he wants to do, which doesn't really have a big point to it. And so, in that sense, he's more of an agent of chaos than Heath Ledger. So, round goes to Jack Nicholson. I'm thirsty. Now, let's move on to round 4 Origin. Now, the Joker is one of the very few characters left in comic book history that has no real set origin. The closest anyone's ever actually gotten to it is the Killing Joke. Even in that story, though, Joker says every time he remembers his origin, it's different, like multiple choice. However, in terms of the Killing Joke, that story did make its influence in the '89 Batman film. I mean, Jack Nicholson's character, Jack, simple enough. I think it's Jack anyway. Anyway, he is a mid level crime mobster that, during the battle with the police and Batman in a factory, falls into a batch of chemicals that turns his skin a different color and makes him, well, insane. And that draws direct influence from the Killing Joke. And he goes on to kill his boss and becomes the new crime boss of Gotham City. With Heath Ledger, we don't know who he is. I mean, he was caught for a time in the Dark Knight, but Gordon's just like, we can't really ID this guy. No prints, no DNA, nothing pops up. He's basically like a ghost. Now, there is the popular theory about at least what kind of job Heath Ledger's Joker had before becoming the Joker, but since that's yet to be confirmed, I can't really count it as being canon. So, while Jack Nicholson's origin story for his Joker makes sense and, of course, fits in with the story and everything, the fact that Heath Ledger's Joker has no origin sort of makes him a larger than life figure. I mean, he already is, but something about his just like out of the blue appearance just makes him that more intimidating. So, with that in mind, even though he has a lack of an origin, Heath Ledger's version wins this round. What? What? We're not doing that this week. We're not doing that. Get out of here. He has some stupid ideas sometimes. Anyway, round 5 Legacy. Now, for a while, Jack Nicholson's performance as Joker has been very popular and continues to be popular to this day. Heath Ledger's portrayal, though, his legacy has become so enormous because Heath Ledger died before the film ever came out to theaters. And and generally speaking, movies, or at least certain performances, become larger than life once the actor involved passes away, even before the film gets a chance to be released. So that sort of really inflates that legacy up quite a bit. But let's assume that Heath Ledger never died. Let's look at this from a hypothetical. Heath Ledger never died after filming The Dark Knight. Would the legacy still be as big as it is? Well, yeah, I'd say so. I mean, sure, the fact that the artist died very shortly after putting in the work does certainly inflate that legacy and influence, but if Heath Ledger lived, it would still be a massive performance. I mean, the whole point of the Dark Knight trilogy was to give a more grounded, realistic version of Batman and his mythology. And to see that kind of work put into his most iconic villain worked really well and made him that much more realistic. Jack Nicholson's Joker is a huge influence in pop culture and still gets mentioned, talked about a lot. And from a certain perspective, it is still a fairly realistic version. But there there is no doubt that Heath Ledger's Joker has become a favorite for a lot of people. Now, I love Jack Nicholson's performance, but looking at this objectively, Heath Ledger wins the round and he wins the Joker face off. So that's all I have for right now, and I can't believe we got a chance to say this, but come back next Sunday for another Joker face off, where we'll have Heath Ledger go up against another iconic but often overlooked performance. That's all I have for right now. Like, comment, subscribe, share. I'll see you guys next time.